Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, colleagues. Welcome to the monthly webinars for the LGMA constituency towards COP30. Apologies, a couple of minutes of delay in kicking off this webinar. As our usual practice, we will just allow 30 seconds for all participants to settle, and we appreciate your patience in that regard. Good. I also had my last sip of my coffee, morning coffee, so I think we can kick off. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Yunus Khan. I'm the director of global advocacy at ICLE Local Governments for Sustainability, which is serving as the focal point of the local governments and municipal authorities constituency. This is a monthly webinar that is repeated in most cases Wednesdays, the third Wednesdays in 2 time zones, in order that our colleagues from different time zones to join in. So this is the morning session for European time. For those who are joining us new, we usually follow a presentation which takes around 35 minutes or 40 minutes. Depending on the agenda, we have some partners coming in, especially also the time zones can also influence this. And we recommend that after the presentations are over, we open the floor for dialogues and also updates. In case during the presentation there are any points you want to be highlighted or to be addressed, you can type in your chat box. These sessions are recorded and uploaded in our YouTube channels, and you receive an email, those who subscribe, that provides the links, and others can also download this also from our website, citizensangels.org. Today in our session, in the morning session especially, I will be joined with my colleagues Ariel from ICLE and Amelia from GCOM. In the afternoon session, we're also expecting our colleagues from Brasilia, especially in reference to their updates from the Brazil National Coordination Group. But especially on the agendas related to our position, working groups, we're assuming that active engagement from our co-leads of our working groups and our lead partners could be coming up, so it's more an interactive session as well. Therefore, we really appreciate all your contributions in that regard. So we will try to skip the first part. What I see in this presentation or this round is that last month we had a long break between the 2 webinars, therefore it was loaded. This month it was relatively short, it was just 3 weeks. But the number of agendas that has evolved, or the outcomes or information, is as equally intense. So it's not a lighter, let's say, presentation. Therefore, we do our best to skip the first standing items like the basic introduction quickly. We will go through May updates, the updates that came from this month. We will provide updates on town hall COPs. My colleague Ariel will lead that. We will spend most of our time on the position paper and our governance discussion, and my colleague Amelia will particularly come in here. We will go through May-June agenda. There are some other updates. We will provide some updates on the hub in Belém, Daring Cities agenda, and Ariel and other colleagues will also keep you informed about the working groups, which is the ongoing work, not just the governance, future governance, but the ongoing works. Some of the working groups, at least. With this, let's go kick off. We are the voice of cities, towns, regions, all the subnationals in the UNFCCC process since '95, the first COP1. So that's our strength, that we have been involved in the negotiations, action agenda since Paris. We are trying to make sure we are coordinated with the presidency's agenda so that they complement each other. And obviously we talk to and engage with the parties because they are the ones who sign all the decisions, and we provide our inputs and in particular work with them in putting our positions into the negotiated outcomes in collaboration with our friends of multi-level action. you are subscribed to one of these monthly webinars. The past and the future calendar is here. In case you haven't done so, we also recommend you to subscribe yourself to the bulletin, because that is the one where you can get all the links and other information as well. So that's also an opportunity for you to keep your information fresh. We have seen 4 phases of local and subnational climate advocacy. There were moments of no recognition. Then we kicked off towards Copenhagen. After Copenhagen, we didn't give up. We even then elevated our efforts. We reached to our first results and the recognition in the Paris Agreement. Then we have advanced with the NDC processes, because once we are recognized, then we are engaged, and then we have achieved the term multi-level collaboration, first in the Glasgow Climate Pact, and then the UAE consensus, which is part of the global stocktake, actually, 161, that all parties are urged for multi-level action. And especially since Glasgow, we have been working a lot with the presidencies on bringing urbanization and multi-level collaboration with various initiatives. And we're also making good progress on various agenda items like mitigation work program, loss and damage, finance, and others. Previous information are available on our website. LGMA is primarily focusing on the negotiations, which means we're in the blue zone, very active with different agendas, our pavilion, and party side events. We are advancing our capacity, especially with virtual engagements as well. Our position paper that is released mainly before these COPs is giving us the chance that our delegations can advocate our calls both at home with their national governments before going to those COPs, but also on-site and specific negotiating items. And we have advantages of such unified position, detailed, but also executive summary, that different levels of our representatives can use this effectively. Most of our information, almost all, are available online, recordings, daily webcasts, the weekly recaps, and this is also the case that we are trying to make sure that in between sessions with our events, we are also keeping this fresh. Our pavilion is our home. It's the global stage for us to advocate and convene with our partners and define our strategic move towards the negotiations. And we are delighted to have this collaboration with UN Habitat, as well as the host country partners and many others around the world. We will be giving you an update on the upcoming agenda in Belém as well. Belém is important because it will be the moment to conclude or culminate all the commitments from Dubai and Baku, from mitigation, transition to adaptation to finance. So it is in fact a 3 years process, but also because of the new NDCs, we are kicking off a new era. In this slide, we are trying to keep fresh information. This is the transition from the leadership. The outgoing presidency usually goes a bit lower in terms of their engagement and the capacities, and gradually, every passing week or month, the incoming presidency, which in this case Brazil, is taking up the speed. A couple of things that is new from the last month's slide from this screen. You may have noticed that there is a new logo. Previously, it was COP30 Amazonia. It says COP30 Brazil, Amazonia, Belém. I think we have been enjoying the notion that for the first time a region was presented as the host, but now you can see all levels of governments or all levels of the human settlements are reflected as the host of this COP, which is, I think, very nice. It's aligned with the climate federalism spirit of Brazil. Another update, we have the youth climate champion announced, Marcela Oliveira. Congratulations to her. She was assigned as a kind of an open process. They received applications and they selected. They say, when we say they, it's the presidency, COP30 presidency. Muturao is being now a word that we will be using frequently. There had been leadership circles, there had been stock taking, but now the latest one is the assignment of the envoys, and we also have a second letter. We will go through that in a minute. Overall, we have an annual agenda. We cover the global events, which is not necessarily bounded by UN procedures. We are following, obviously, in the blue, the UN and UNFCCC. Maybe it's just should be the opposite, UNFCCC and UN, because we're primarily focusing the UNFCCC agenda. But climate is so diverse that other UN institutions or fora is also involved. We will touch upon this in the UNAT discussions. And the green, the below column or row is the ones that we take control as LGMA partners. It's our annual congresses or general assemblies, or the events that we convene, where we use it for bringing our own voices and agree on our positions, and then communicate this to the rest of the world. Under these three categories, what has been the major outcomes or major progress since our last webinar on 30th of April? First of all, Australia national elections is concluded. Of course, there are so many other countries, but Australia was particularly important because of their candidacy for COP31 to host and to be the president of the COP31, which is immediately after Brazil. The candidates currently are Turkey and Australia, because this will be hosted by the Western Europe group. Australia was a bit interesting because the opposition was advocating that in case they're elected, they will withdraw Australian candidacy. The previous government succeeded, so they have received the mandate to continue to govern the country, and they are even now more committed to be more actively coming to the preparations for COP31. You may hear more information in the coming weeks and months, but obviously we are assuming the final decision, whether it will be Turkey or Australia or somewhere else, it will be decided in Belém, and it will be then the next 11 months or so for preparation of this COP31. From the UN COP30 presidency sides, we have seen Copenhagen Climate Ministerial taking place. We will touch upon it, especially on the LGMA engagement for the Champ Roundtable and that agenda, which was unique, first of its kind. There will be a discussion, very interesting, the next couple of months and even years. We will be occupied with that. UN Secretary General is working on a UNAT reform, and in the past couple of weeks, a draft position paper, a draft vision is leaked, because that's supposed to be confidential, but LinkedIn, Twitter, everywhere you can see that document. So everybody's speaking about it, so it's not anymore a secret, but there are very interesting perspectives that we would like to share here. The presidency's second letter becomes much more concrete about what they want to achieve or how they want to achieve. It's very, very encouraging to see a numerous reference to local to global and self-determined contribution, which is a new terminology. I think it is speaking to our hearts and minds. Therefore, we are even more motivated and excited. And Panama Climate Week, we have one slide on that. We will touch upon this. It's, in fact, currently taking place now. From our side, Brazil National Coordination Group, which was kicked off in March, end of March, met together. We have one slide, but we will hear more in the afternoon session. But it is so good that all actors and government agencies are really using the LGMA as the convening space where they can share information, they can update each other, learn what they haven't heard before, and feed to the Brazilian presidency. And this is really an opportunity that we are enjoying as the global LGMA, because that's exactly what the mission of this group, so that it's a two-way relation. They inform us, but they also are the channel for us to reach the presidency. Champ Roundtable, we'll talk upon it. We had last week's discussions on our position paper, and we'll present you the latest outcomes we achieved, both in terms of our working group leading this process, but also in our consultations with our other partners of the LGMA, which was held last week. 30 spatial envoys. There are 10 regions and 20 key sectors. Out of this, there are 3 individuals which are directly relevant for us. Jurema Werneck is assigned as the voice of marginalized urban communities. Informality will be a huge issue, both in the action agenda, but of course in the country like Brazil. So it's so good to have an assigned person like that with this mandate. Marcelo Brito is an experienced leader from the subnational leadership in Amazonian region, especially. The organization he's representing, Legal Amazon Consortium, is already member of the LGMA COP30 Brazil coordination group. Therefore, it's a great opportunity for us to have him there. And Philip Young is an expert on this urbanization concept. Honestly speaking, I personally am not being familiar with these leaders. We will check among our partners who have access to these leaders, especially we assume our Brazilian National Coordination Group will help us. But if there are any other partners globally who are working with them, let's share updates, and we wish them the best of success in their assignments to support the presidency. This is the remarkable, one of the best and most exciting news of this year, this month, maybe even the year. The traditional Copenhagen Climate Ministerials is an informal body where ministers meet together so that they can prepare how to adopt decisions by COP. This happens in Petersburg and Berlin in end of March. Sorry, traditionally Copenhagen was end of March and Berlin was around April and May. This year, due to the German government change of the German government, the order was changed. The important is that in Petersburg Climate Dialogue in March, we had the first discussions on multi-level action and governance, and now there's a dedicated. It was in between the lines in Petersburg. Here, there was a dedicated agenda where all participating ministers were involved, and we were so happy to have both the endorsers of CHAMP and even those countries who have not endorsed CHAMP yet have been actively involved. This is primarily an exchange of information, but it's so good that the concept multi-level action is resonating inside and outside the CHAMP endorsing countries. We are so happy to have COP30 CEO, GCOM Executive Director, Facilitation, and LGMA represented by by the Lusaka Mayor, as well as Gina van Mechanicle, Secretary General. Amelia, I am not sure whether you personally were there in Copenhagen. Would you like to briefly touch upon this? If you have any, if you'd like to share, this is the only slide we have on that agenda, but there are a lot of things we can discuss. So maybe we give you the floor for this round now.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but my colleagues reported back that it was a really effective meeting. As you've mentioned, Eunice, it was really a first of its kind for the LGMA. So we were just really delighted to have secured the slot. And also the mayor of Lusaka was an incredible speaker, and we're really, really grateful to her for her remarks and being able to travel at short notice. So yeah, please do look at that news bit on the GCOM website. And I know that partners have also cross-posted some of this content. So please do refer to that for any further details. Thanks.
Excellent, excellent. And this information is also available with at the CHAMP website in the LGMA section, which is where we use as like the repository of CHAMP-related activities. But it is so good, and especially now this will feed to our preparations towards Bonn. We are prepared to have the second CHAMP UNFCCC focal points meeting. Obviously, the discussions in Bonn are among the negotiators or heads of the negotiating groups, but this was at the ministerial level. So having ministers discuss about CHAMP and multi-level action is an opportunity that when we meet with the negotiators, they can receive more guidance, political guidance from their ministers. They can much comfortably speak about their plans and how they would like to share these experiences and advance further. Good. UN80, that is a screenshot that's from the leaked 6-page document. There is no official legitimacy of this document, but there are rumors that it is really being discussed intensively. There is already an officially UN80 task force under UN Secretary General, and he is leading this process, obviously. There was already a briefing to the UN member states in New York, and these discussions were closed. The briefing by the UN Secretary General is available on the web, but the discussions by member states are not. So this document discusses UN's 3 overarching goals: peace and security, sustainable development, and human rights. On the sustainable development, the proposals include merging of a number of UN institutions under one umbrella. And of course, all these are due to the main driver of this process is that the budget cuts from national governments to UN is decreasing significantly, especially from the US, which is providing 30% of the budget of the UN, and others as well. So it's both like a response in the UN reforms, but also a necessity because they have to be realistic. There is no resources to continue business as usual like that. So merging of some institutions is an agenda. Among them, the most specific proposal is that to merge UNFCCC into UNEP. Of course, this is a very strange, it's a strange animal because UNFCCC is an agreement, negotiation agreement. It's not a body itself. And there are so many agreements, biodiversity, desertification, other conventions. So the reason why it's highlighted very clearly, UNFCCC's impact into the global sustainability is beyond being just a multilateral environmental agreement. The number of accredited parties, it's well above any process. We're talking about 4,000 NGOs accredited to the UNFCCC. This figure doesn't exist in neither New York, neither Nairobi, neither in Geneva, and it's changing and coming and going. And the decisions adopted by UNFCCC is even overarching many of the other UN bodies. So UNFCCC is beyond an environmental agreement secretariat. The discussion here is that to merge UNFCCC with UNEP and bring most of the institutions to Nairobi. That will be an interesting point. And of course, the last sentence, the COP in current form should be discontinued, is exactly the debate that is going on the table around the rooms. We have the first official discussion in Petersburg dialogue this March. So the magnitude of the agendas, the number of the participation, and the tracking, all these cannot be handled with this process at the moment. Let's remember the current format is all referring to the Kyoto era. And of course, Paris Agreement introduced a lot of new elements. We are all discussing this because whatever change will come will impact our LGMA engagement, our membership or constituency engagement in this process. There is a very good, we believe, a reference to the convergence or enhanced coordination between UNEP and UN Habitat. This is exactly also happening, and we will see in the UN Habitat Assembly. And some of the UN bases, not necessarily to the UNFCCC or UNEP, but there is a discussion that from high-cost centers that there may be some of due to stations, some of the offices of UN may be shifted to the global south, or cities which have more affordable in terms of space and living conditions. So that will be a big debate that will come to us, because we will touch upon this. Third element of our position is governance, and these kind of information we have to take into account. As I said, this is the Brazil National Coordination Group. The agenda they had, the list of participants. We will wait for the afternoon because our colleagues, it's better. But what we have seen, as I said, it's really very encouraging. We had Bruna Cerqueira from presidency, we had the Federation Council, we had ministries, we have all the networks, national, global. They are really now taking the ownership that they are literally preparing as a collective to be the host for COP30. Especially, we will see this in the month of October and November. There are so many now, one after another events coming, the pre-COP, the local leaders forum, the COP Leaders Summit, and COP itself. So there are 4 moments, but in 3 different cities: Brasilia, Rio, Belém. So therefore, it's important our partners in Brasilia prepare for that. Today, this is the middle of the Panama Climate Week. This is important. There is a change in this logic. Traditionally, this was regional climate weeks, which means the partners who were in that region are mainly invited to be engaged. Now, UNFCCC has changed their logic that they are designing these events are climate weeks, which means the agenda, the debate is global. But of course, you can expect more participation from the region due to logistical cost and others. There are officially mandated events, dialogues, which we are invited as LGMA. We nominate our representatives there. There is an open implementation forum, which will happen today, which is a bit more political dialogues, high-level leaders. And Marrakesh Partnership is organizing several events and some other events. The full list is impossible to list it here. So this is just a bird's eye view. We are very proud our colleagues from C40, GCOM, ICLE are attending these meetings in different sessions, as I mentioned, because there are limitations with numbers, and they also have to respect their agenda, so they cannot attend all these 5 days. Some, luckily, they are, but they are trying to make sure to ensure a continuity. We also have representatives from our constituency, which are the political leaders from Guadalajara, from Estrella, Salvador, and Rosario, mayor, secretary of environment, vice mayor level. This is also very strong. The final agenda may change because there have been some latest updates. So that's at least the overview from our side. During this meeting, Marrakesh Partnership Human Settlements has also provided updates to the upcoming agenda and the action agenda. We will this year particularly focus on food waste under the waste and consumption with UNEP. We will connect to several negotiation agenda items inside UNFCCC, focusing on food and agriculture, which is very, very good, as well as waste and circularity. There is an ongoing outside UNFCCC process, the Rome UN Food System Summit, Plastics Treaty negotiations. We will reflect the outcome from nature negotiations, nature and land negotiations. Obviously, Sharm el-Sheikh adaptation agenda, we are leading Human Settlements Task Force. The informality group will officially kick off in Belém. Informality is, as you have heard, is a strong topic in Brazil, in Amazonas. So we are very happy that our community is also responding. And we will follow up now the multi-level action agenda, which was first ever discussed last year in Bonn. It's not an official agenda of Marrakesh Partnership, but through LGMA, we're making the connection, and we will discuss this in our position paper as well. NDC submissions are coming. New parties are coming in. We're very happy. Both champ and non-champ countries are providing new information. Latest versions were Kenya and Moldova, amongst others. The whole goal is that we will improve the percentage of urban components and multi-level indices much better than what was presented in Glasgow onwards. All this brings us to the fact that we are entering into a new era of multi-level climate action, from the community level up to the UN through national processes. In that regard, town hall COPs will play an important role. And now I give the floor to my colleague Ariel for a brief update on that.
Great. Thanks, Eunice. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. So as we talked about last month, we launched the initiative. Obviously, we've been kind of talking about town hall COPs for a long time. The initiative officially launched last month, building on, of course, the long work with Talanoa dialogues and local stock takes leading up to Dubai. I don't know if we've pointed this out before, but we got some nice kind of supporting language from the UNFCCC Executive Secretary on platforms like this, endorsing this approach. And I think that, obviously one of the, besides the kind of larger goal to just have as many local and regional governments hosting town hall COPs as possible, obviously the institutional buy-in and sort of figuring out the how this can add to the ecosystem of multi-level governance, of multi-level dialogue is very important to us. So we can go to the next slide. The kind of updates for now are that we've had, I haven't checked the numbers this week, but up to last week, we had over 40 town hall COPs registered around the world. Really great, I think, regional representation, and many of them are kind of coming up very quickly too. So in May and June, we're looking, we already had the Sydney Town Hall COP. I believe Izmir and Mugla also hosted theirs. Riverside in the US was yesterday, and we have new ones registered in South Africa and Brazil, and other ones coming up in other regions. So we're very excited. I think that's the first thing, is just we knew from really dialogues with you all that there was interest, that folks were holding these under different names, but really that the principle of it was very kind of embraced already. And so, you know, our hope is that by kind of giving this structure and additional kind of support, we can continue to drive that forward. I think so. A couple of basics, you know, we have the Town Hall COP toolkit available. The other thing that we really want to start doing is working with all of you to understand how this could help with your own work that you're doing with local and regional governments in your networks, or if you are a local and regional government, but really looking for folks who are interested in incorporating this into their strategy. And particularly for, you know, folks who are interested in supporting local and regional governments to host these. And so we will be kind of offering this way for institutional endorsement coming up. Our hope is that by June, we'll have kind of a framework for that. And then, of course, you know, for folks who just want to help us to spread the word about it, then there's that kind of dissemination level partner. So look for that. I think that's an important step in, you know, really understanding how this can be used across the constituency. And I think the other thing just to say is that we really are in learning mode here. So a lot of, you know, we've put together this toolkit, we have a reporting form, we have some theories about how this can work to, you know, with the 3 principles of locally led, nationally relevant, and transformation oriented, but we really want to learn too. So that's kind of the space that we're in right now, is to experiment, to help folks to really host these events and see what works, and then to continue to iterate on the program. So we hope that that this sparks some interest amongst you all. And on the last slide, there was an email address, but if you go to ICLEI.org, Town Hall COPs as well, you'll find that email address there. So please reach out, or you can reach out to me or Eunice, and we can connect you with the team. And I believe, Toby, did you want to come in here too?
Toby, are you here with us?
Toby raised his hand, so I think if we can just bring him
I
in.
remember he was, because there
He
was
he can talk now if you want.
Okay.
Hi. I think you can hear me, maybe not see me, but
Yeah.
that should do. And Toby from the Under 2 Coalition. I just wanted to come in and build off the excellent work of the Town Hall COPs and the reference to NDCs with mention of the upcoming NDC conference in Berlin on the 11th to the 13th of June. This is hosted by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action, BMWK, in partnership with NDC Partnership, UNDP, and GIZ. Sorry for all the acronyms. And really the purpose of this conference is to foster and drive the translation of NDC commitments into implementation and investment plans. The Under 2 Coalition will be hosting on the final day a Solutions Lab session in partnership with many on this call, including reference to Town Hall COPs, and that's really to engage many of the national governments that will be at this conference with hopefully subnational counterparts that we also hope to bring and foster that dialogue, and really taking the NDCs that are already existing into more implementation roadmaps and partnerships moving forward. This is really the space for having more dialogue on the ground, as opposed to building off some of the high level virtual moments that we know will be happening this year on NDCs. So just wanted to raise that, but thanks Eunice, Ariel, for providing the context there as well.
Excellent, Toby. Congratulations. And in that sense, yes, NDC conference is part of our LGMA calendar. So it's really great that you are secured the space. So look forward to, because this is just 2 days before the UN Climate Conference in Bonn. And we know many negotiators are first going to Berlin to join these discussions and then come to Bonn. So it's an excellent bridging. And I think we also have a delegation from GCOM who will be planning to be there. So a lot of colleagues will be in Berlin. So great. Let's continue. So now, in the last month, we have shared with you that we have the initial ideas for input to the Zero Draft. Over these weeks, the drafting committee, consisting of colleagues from ICLEI, C40, GCOM, Under 2, Regions 4, and Committee of the Regions have come together and consolidated. In between these calls, there was this release of the second paper that helped us a lot. And I would now like to invite Amelia to share with us the latest status, because it's a working process, it's a living document. We have some main headline, we have paragraph, and then specific action agenda items for each of these categories. Amela, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Eunice. And yeah, I'm delighted to present this on behalf of all of the drafting working group. And as Eunice said, you can see the organisations there who contributed to this first draft, the COP30 Position Zero draft. So the way that this has been approached this year is to really think about this in sort of time, on a timeline. So what is it that as a constituency we will be doing before Belém? What will we be bringing to Belém, and then what does the future look like beyond Belém? So I'll go into each of those briefly. Ariel, if we go to the first slide. So in terms of before Belém, this is a really a look at like what is the constituency doing now to really secure success at COP30, because we know that it really does depend on all of our work in the run-up. You know, the COP is an event, but we have lots happening in the run-up to that moment. And we've heard about some of that on the call already today. So, you know, the town hall COPs, lots of work happening on the NDCs and encouraging ambition there, really looking at the Coalition for High Ambition, multi-level partnerships and countries that are signed up to the coalition. You know, we're expecting good things from them in their NDCs and encouraging that. And then also looking at subnational transition plans and adaptation plans being submitted. And one thing to highlight here as well is the COP30 presidency's call for a muturao, which is this idea of everyone bringing their strengths to the table. So we really want to demonstrate that LGMA is doing that in the run-up to COP30. Great. So then in terms of in Belém, this is really looking at what is it as a constituency we will be bringing and asking for at the COP. So we believe that multi-level action and urbanisation can help COP30 to advance commitments that have already been agreed to at previous COPs, particularly Dubai and Baku, through really supporting Brazil's idea of a muturao spirit. So this section, you'll see on the slide, there's lots of different areas sort of referenced there in terms of the different negotiations. So the aim here is that we will develop out some technical annexes, which will then have text for negotiators that can support this. But this section also just acknowledges that we will have the fantastic Cities and Regions Hub in the blue zone as well. So that'll be a great focal point for the constituency throughout the 2 weeks. And then lastly, looking beyond Belém, so local and other subnational governments must be key partners in building a new era of multi-level climate action governance. So this really acknowledges that the Brazilian presidency has been looking at what does COP30 mean in terms of what can we sort of set up that will help set the COP and the UNFCCC process on a path to move from negotiation to action. So we really want to make sure that, you know, we as a constituency believe that our sector is really important within this shift, within this reform, and we think we can help strengthen multi-level governance within the UNFCCC as part of this. So I will go into a little bit more detail now. So I'm not going to cover off each of these. As I've mentioned, each of these sections has a bit of a breakdown. We've mentioned the town hall COPs, the NDCs, and I think one thing to flag here that I haven't mentioned is the COP30 presidency is planning to convene climate leadership circles. There are 4 of these, and I think to be confirmed how we will, as a sort of constituency, slot into these, but I think just really wanting to support the way in which Brazil is mobilising in the run-up. So I think this group will be kept posted on that one. In terms of in Belém, we have engagement within the negotiations. So as mentioned, what is happening, even starting in Bonn, but also through to COP, what are the different areas that we will be bringing specific text for and asks for negotiators? And then secondly, what new negotiation themes might come on the table and what might the opportunities be within the broader action agenda for our constituency to really support things moving. And then lastly, beyond Belém, so I think this section will also require some technical annexes, and I think later in the presentation, myself or Toby might pop up just to discuss this a little bit more. But the idea here is really to position multi-level action and urbanisation as key elements in transforming UNFCCC governance to really help support and deliver the Paris Paris Agreement. We know that our constituency is really critical in doing this, and we want to ensure that parties can work collaboratively with subnational governments. So, we're looking at options around things like creating a new formal mechanism for subnationals within the process. And we're also aware of new models that have been proposed by the Brazilian COP30 presidency going forward, for example, a new UN advisory group. So really trying to respond to some of those opportunities. And then lastly, a point around the climate, land, nature nexus, thinking about how we connect the biodiversity CBD COP. That was a lot to quickly run through, but I know that the full zero draft will be shared with this group. And I think I can comfortably say on behalf of the drafting working group, we're really looking forward to hearing thoughts from across the constituency. So please do get in touch. Thank you.
Thanks, Amalia. And this is work in progress. It's, of course, a living document, and it will be expanded as mentioned. But at least the headlines are there. Our delegations in Panama, next week in Nairobi, will speak about these so that we are already bringing our elements. And maybe we should also mention the original proposal was that the title was Rallying for an Urban COP30. There was a nice debate inside the group, and we also were encouraged by the presidency's approach. So we revised that rallying for local to global COP30 and beyond is our subject line or headline of this year's position paper. Meanwhile, we are working on improving our governance. The current status is that we have working groups, we have tools and channels, and we have products. I will not go into all of these, but this is where we are as of today. But as we discussed, now we are going into a very complex and very dynamic era, and we have to be much more robust and much more offering richness of our constituency with different capacities. So we are discussing how we will introduce new bodies, how we will introduce new tools, and this is work in progress. But basically, we would like to make use of our drafting committee and steering committee much more integrated, an advisory board of our principals, our ambassadors, our leaders who are attending, and especially to keep them briefed and informed and receive their feedbacks throughout the year so that we don't wait until the end of the year. And we would like to ensure our engagement working groups more effective internally, but also start the discussion of action agenda, which is being improved. As we have said, that's also work in progress, and make the connection that the national and regional groups, as you have seen in Brazil, but also the local town hall COP, so that they can feed to us. We will improve our capacities, for example, introducing the briefings as well. What next? Last week of May is still next week. And the most important thing, first of all, now we are having the Panama conference, part of my climate week, but most importantly, next week there is this UN Habitat Assembly, where there is a special event, UN Habitat Assembly resume session, where UNEP, UN Habitat will have a joint press conference, and there we will announce officially our Cities and Regions Hub with other partners, and more information in the next slide. But we have the G7 summit. Canada is back into the global arena, Paris +10. And in addition to Paris +10, from the LGMA side, we will have the London Climate Week hosting a number of events, including C40's 20th anniversary. Ocean Conference will be at the beginning of the month, and the month will be concluded with the Finance Conference. All of them will have strong inputs and outputs to the mid of this month, which is in Bonn, the UN Bonn Climate Conference. In a nutshell, the Cities and Regions will kick off officially from next week onwards. You will see its dedicated website and endorsement from UN Habitat, Minister of Cities of Brazil. It is aimed to be even an advanced space, and more to come next week. In terms of our agenda in Bonn, this is particularly the Bonn dialogues. It starts on Monday, the first day of the UN Climate Conference. We would like to have this as a preparatory day. We will have some technical meetings, including briefing. We will have our reception and champ dinner. On Tuesday, we will still be inside UNFCCC with a number of events with the high-level champions and the official champ roundtable. In the evening, we will have the reception at the Altes Rathaus, the Bonn traditional historic town hall. where we hope to have COP30 CEO Anatoni and COP30 high-level champion Dan Yosh pending for their final confirmation. But yesterday in Panama, there were very nice discussions already. So we hope that we will be celebrating with them and with the big Brazilian delegation from Grande do Sul, Belém, and Niterói, and Ambassador da Costa, that the town halls are ready to support the Belém and the Brazilian partners. So it will be a nice atmosphere. And the whole day on 18th of June, we will focus on multi-level action with different thematic discussions, roundtables. It's a dynamic agenda. We recommend you to make sure you register yourself so that you can have access to the GIZ auditorium. Ariel, I think you have your slides probably separately on the working groups.
Yep.
So I stopped sharing my screen.
Great. So, whoops, one sec here. Toby is actually going to come in and start with multi-level action and CHAMP working group. Sorry, Toby, give me one quick sec here.
No problem.
Okay. Can you see my screen now? Hopefully you can.
Yep.
Great. Yeah. So as Ariel mentioned, tomorrow we're kicking off the multi-level action and CHAMP working group. The key purpose of this is really to hear from everyone in the constituency about, first of all, the purpose of this working group and what you want to see from it. And then secondly, and even more importantly, to get your input on the zero draft position, specifically on multi-level action and CHAMP. So we want to build out from that high-level overview that Amelia just referenced, and build from the excellent work of the working group in the past with the COP29 multi-level action joint position that LGMA had, into a more relevant version for COP30 this year. The session will be hosted by myself and Amelia, and we really look forward to all your participation tomorrow, 2 till 3 p.m. UK time. Please do come and share your expertise with us.
Great. And maybe Toby and Amelia, if you can just drop either the Zoom link or your contact info in the chat, that would be great. And following on that, let's see if I can, yep. So the communications working group will also be convening for our first meeting of the year. I'm targeting the first week of June for that. So the goal of the communications working group is really to obviously support all of the great direct advocacy and diplomacy work, and really create the kind of conversation, the wider conversation, the sort of natural pressure, we hope, that that will make the work of the advocacy and diplomacy counterparts even easier or more imperative. So I think the other piece of this is that the communications working group really is we're leaning on you to be a strong kind of technical force, because our comms resources are just very limited. So my goal is that we really come at this with a collective impact approach and look at what the strengths of each of the participants are. Really anyone from within the constituency is welcome. So whether you're an accredited organization, a non-accredited, or from a local and regional government, we really welcome you. I think the other thing I really want to focus on this year is thinking through how we really intentionally operationalize the position. So I think we did a great job last year with saying, okay, we can't just have a very, very technical document and hope that people figure out how to talk about it. So we said we're going to have a much more kind of digestible first document that that helps all of those people who are not, working deep within the negotiation space to advocate for us. And I think I would like to say, let's go even a step further this year and really understand what we can do to empower the people who need to be talking about this. So I'm talking about, elected leaders, our own staff, everyone in this meeting. I want you to be able to feel like you could go to COP, you could talk with anyone, in the negotiation space, and really be able to give either a high level background on the position or actually get into some of the details. So that's kind of my goal, separate and apart from like the wider kind of more ecosystem communications that we might do. So I guess that there's probably not too many people on this call who would want to serve in this working group, but I hope that you have a colleague who you think would be good for this working group. And so I'll put in my email address. I really ask you to either connect me to them or send them my email. We have a terms of reference that I'm going to share via the Google group, but if you don't get that email or if you want to reach out directly to me, please do, and I can share that with anyone who needs to get it. So I will stop there, and I think that's the end of our slides, Eunice.
Excellent. Thanks, Toby and Ariel. And just to add, there are already other working groups such as loss and damage group, the finance working group. They're also advancing. They have already made some submissions sent this year. So they are not today joining us because of their agendas, but they will also continue, and we will discuss how we will make the connection between all these. We are 7 minutes left this year, this month. I think, as I said, I was preparing that it will be a long session, but I think it was really reaching to its goal that all of our colleagues are updated. I still see a couple of some feedbacks. First one I see, we have new Town Hall COPs registered from Tishwane, or I read in the chat box, correct? Kata, if you can help me.
I think
I saw that in the chat box.
I think it was all answered.
Yeah, there was an announcement saying that one will be Tishwane, a new one that I couldn't exactly track. But there was a question from Kevin on the local conference of youth.
Yeah.
Our colleague Karishma is coordinating the connection of the local conference of youth to the Town Hall COPs. We're checking with our colleagues that they respect to the proposal, the 3 elements and the reporting platform, but we're assuming around 10 or 12 will be eligible to be recognized as Town Hall COPs. And Ariel, if you wish, you can also come in. Yes, now clarifications, Etekwini Durban. That's great. South Africa, we are assuming there will be a very good announcement. South Africa, this is also the G20 president, so it's very, very nice. Some emails are shared here for joining the discussions. In case there are other points to be raised by other colleagues, do I see any hands raised or any unanswered response?
No,
Kata?
I think we're good.
Good. We still have 5 minutes. I see a lot of colleagues, especially from our LGMA partners. I see Leah. I don't want to put anyone on fire, but feel free. You are more than welcome if you have any relevant update that you want us to be aware of, because we still have some time. But if you wish, we can also cut it short and we can give you all back this 4 minutes. If it is the better proposal.
Sure, Jonas, happy to jump in with a quick update. When you already mentioned it, we have UNHA happening next week. We're expecting a briefing to both press and member states on some updates of the roadmaps to COP30 and COP13, including updates from the previous COP presidencies, but then also some announcements regarding the ministerial meetings and the cities and regions hub. So definitely lots happening there. So just inviting colleagues to stay tuned. And I think, and I hope we can share some much more in detail updates on all of this during the briefing next month.
Thanks, Leah. That was excellent. UN Habitat is a very important opportunity. And as you have seen, we hope Nairobi will be even more important in the future of the UN governance. It's the first Global South capital hosting UN institutions, and it definitely deserves to be even more strengthened. as you have said, this is an opportunity for us to make the connection between Habitat Assembly, which is the ministers of urbanization or relevant ministers, and having a special agenda on climate is excellent. One of the things, as our colleagues are hearing, and we have already shared with you, we would like to discuss the possibility of having national level urban and climate ministerials. The fantastic experience we had over the past 3 years inside the UNFCCC COPs, we believe it would be very nice if we can be taking this to the national level. You have not touched upon it now, but I think it will be coming, because UN Habitat is already working on a new guide for enhancing urban components, which will be announced in June. That is also something that we can really make the connection, the mobilization in town hall COPs, some countries hosting urban climate ministerials, and bring all these results to Belém, so that even those who do not travel to Belém can provide input to the discussion. We would be very happy to discuss this. You may have seen in the list of registered town hall COPs, we have one in Kuala Lumpur, which will be hosting the ASEAN Mayors Forum, and Malaysia will also be the presidency of the UN Habitat Assembly. I mean, subject to final election at the Assembly, we don't want to prejudge, but there are high expectations. These are all great opportunities, having Brazil, Malaysia, the rest of the Azerbaijan and COP. This is a fantastic opportunity. So more to come next week onwards. That's great. There are some questions, some updates. Ladislas, former Secretary General of RALGA, Rwanda Association of Local Governments. From your analysis and expertise, what is the likely negative impact of integrating UNFCCC into UNEP as part of the UN reforms? I didn't say primarily a negative impact. There will definitely be impact. Most of them could be positive, but from an initial thinking, we believe it should not be just limited to UNFCCC. The 3 Rio Conventions, in fact, this will be the discussion we will have in Bonn. The 3 Rio Conventions, how this could be supporting the rest of the SDG era, and knowing that we are in a 1.5 degree global warming overshoot era. So that's all the reasons to make sure that they're all integrated, and especially with the UNEP and UN Habitat strengthened. That's a lot of things we can discuss. One of the things I'm hearing, Rwanda being very actively proposing that they could host one of the potential new UN bodies, which I think it's good to have more institutions in Africa. So let's see how this evolves. We will share with you our analysis from Felix Dodds. You may remember, a very long time member of the LGMA constituency. Actually, he will also have another webinar. So we will continue this discussion, and Felix will also be with us in Bonn. Carl Wright, Carl, great to see you. New Commonwealth Secretary General, ex-Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ghana, and we will continue to focus on sustainable urbanization. Excellent, Carl. We will look forward to your updates in Bonn so that we build on it. Particularly, we are seeing some institutions being weakened, but if Commonwealth can step up, especially with Canada, Australia, now among the countries of Commonwealth being more positive on the climate agenda, definitely there's a lot that Commonwealth can play a role. Kampala, yes, Kampala is one of those registered. We have not confirmed yet, but we really want to have Kampala. Before Kampala, I think we also are considering Nansana. Nansana mayor is also very active. But let's connect with Kampala as well. My colleague Marina is also coordinating from Italy, Africa, this discussions. Thanks for your kind words, Ladislas. It's great to have your recognition, appreciation, and motivation. Good. I think we are there. Huh? Kata, we have addressed all colleagues.
All good.
Toby, Amelia, Ariel, anything, any follow-up, like last minute or pending more points you would like to raise? Feel free to come in. All good. All good. Fantastic. Have a nice day. Have a nice evening. We'll stay tuned and look forward to see many of you in the next couple of weeks and here and there. Stay safe and stay committed. Take care. Bye.